Is there anything more irritating than sitting down to do something and discovering that your dog is whining at the door and you just got to stop? I was going to do this podcast with you about an hour ago after having a massive break from doing the Confident Content podcast, so on fire, and then the dog started whining. And I think that for me, that is so true for so many of us when we go down and finally make that commitment to do that marketing, do that business thing that we've been avoiding. It is so easy to let that final thing just distract you. So I just want to say for all of us that have got distracted today or this week doing something for our business and got up and did it again, you are winning. You're winning at life. Now, that has nothing to do with this podcast today, but hey, my name is Rachel Klaver and I'm a content marketing coach, and I am here at Confident Content to help you learn all about marketing. We're going to start a little series about marketing psychology, because the more we understand marketing psychology, the more we can connect better with our audience and our content improves. So over the next few months, you'll have episodes around different types of marketing psychology techniques and see if you can use and apply them for your own business. And this one is pretty special for me, for we're based in New Zealand and we're getting something in New Zealand that we have not had before that I am super, super excited about. We are getting an IKEA. I've been to IKEA once in my life, and the first time I went, I didn't realize it was in the way in and in the way out, and you couldn't go back. And I spotted these chairs that I really liked within 30 seconds of being there. And I had to go all the way around the store and discovered you couldn't go back to those chairs. So I had to go back around the store, which of course is not a major hardship because it is IKEA. And back then I had no money, and I think if I went now I would be in terrible trouble. But I do think IKEA has a special place in my heart. I do have some IKEA products here. I love it. But the last time I got to my IKEA, I had to assemble it all myself. I bought this amazing sort of shelving desk unit just after the pandemic, and my daughter Rebecca offered to help me. I discovered quickly that her idea of help is to sit there and bark instructions at me while I do it. I thought I would be the one barking the instructions at her. So that was a bit disappointing. And I thought it also would take me about 3 hours to do it, and it took me around 18. But you know what? I bloody love that unit. I think it's amazing. And I think it's a really important reminder, because that was the IKEA effect in action. When you feel attached to a piece of furniture that you've had to assemble yourself, that's the IKEA effect. And it's not just about flat packs. It's a powerful tool for us as small business owners too. If we use the IKEA effect in our marketing and in our business, we can develop a highly loyal business base of customers and fans. So let's talk about it. So the IKEA effect is basically all about how to value something more, because you got a hand in creating it. And if you try to put this into your business, it will increase your customer loyalty and increase your customer engagement. The whole idea of doing a call to action on posts is kind of like this, getting people involved. I used this week. I'm promoting a business brunch that we're launching, and I use this very effect. I have had trouble recently getting good reach on posts on LinkedIn. So I said, hey, would you help me out? Would you help promote this for me? Would you help share it out amongst all the people you know who would be an ideal person in Canterbury who's a woman in business? And that post went crazy. People were sharing it. People were commenting on it. People were privately messaging me. It had the most engagement it has had in ages. Now, I did a post about 2 weeks ago that was all about that brunch without doing that, and it pretty much bombed because I didn't ask for engagement. And so even from a very basic level, remembering to ask people to engage with your content and give you advice or give support or give a shout out is a really powerful way to use the IKEA effect. They feel like they have got a part to play in the success of what you're talking about. It's cool. It's a really simple way to do it, but we'll go a bit deeper in how to do it here. So basically, the IKEA effect describes how people place a higher value on things that they've partially created. So that's why assembling a tricky bookshelf makes you tend to love it more if you've done it successfully. We did buy one a few years ago that my daughter tried to put up, and she loves flat packs, but she didn't have the right tools. And I think that's key. You need to have the right tools, but she didn't have the right kit tools, and that bookshelf was pretty rickety and wobbly, and we did not love that one. But I will tell you that of all the things that we bought when we relocated, that bookshelf that I made with IKEA, I was like, this has got to stay with us. I carefully took anything else that was vulnerable, like the little handles and all the other little bits and gadgets that I'd added and included in. I even carefully unpacked the cardboard covers of some of the boxes that I bought to go with it and everything, and flat packed it because I wanted it to look exactly the same, because I'm so proud of the way that unit looks. And I was very worried it wasn't going to fit into our house. And it's at the place where it is, it just looks amazing. But I was not going to get rid of it. I had put so much time and investment in it. I was so invested in it. Even if I'd hated it, maybe I probably still would have loved it because it was so important. So, but there's other ways we can do this. For example, anyone heard of HelloFresh or what is that other food box or all those other ones? There's another one, isn't there? What is it called? The one, I can't remember. Anyway, but meal service kits worked exactly the same. Instead of just getting ready-made meals, people get all the ingredients, plus a few things that maybe make it a bit easier, recipes, and then they feel really proud of the meals that they've made, and often share them, pushing out that business's growth further abroad, because they're going, look at this cool meal that I made that looks almost like the one in the picture, or look at this cool meal I made. It tastes great, but looks nothing like the one in the picture. So that is kind of the same sort of concept. And we can use this in our businesses, whether we're a product-based business or a service-based business, to find ways to do it. I bought recently, today, I bought a diffuser. And the diffuser doesn't come as just a diffuser. You've got to take the lid off it and then put the little reeds in it, and then you've got to turn them around. I find that insanely satisfying. And it's ridiculous, really, isn't it? Because I could get like air freshener and just spray it around. But it just feels nice to feel like I've created something and made it look prettier, but I've also created something that smells nice as well. And it's just having that little bit of stuff that I've got to do to make it happen like that. So if we're thinking about the IKEA concept in our small businesses, how could we practically apply that? So the first one we could potentially do is think about having some increased customer engagement in some ways. So, for example, you might be a bakery and you might decide to do a design your own cupcake competition or workshops and get them to actually try things. I've worked with a business who does cake decorating supplies, and they've done this. They've done how to design your own cake. And people like to come along and learn, or how to do your flower arranging. I heard of a great one, which was design your own perfume scent. I went to one recently that was how to make your own cheese. And boy, did I buy a lot of product from that place, because I was so excited. I've been making my own cheese since then. I've been making feta and stuff, but I bought all this equipment from her and plan to buy more and plan to go to more workshops, because it's that idea of feeling that we're contributing to it. And I've told so many people, and I know of 3 people that have directly gone to that course because I said it was awesome. And I said to them, and you need to make sure you budget for all the gear. So it's about actually finding a way. Their business partly is selling the courses, but it's actually also selling all the product. And so it was a really clever way for them to grow that and establish that. And people have to come back, obviously, when they run out of product as well. So it's a really clever way to build that in customer engagement and get people excited about what the product is. Much better than just giving a workbook and getting them to follow the instructions at home. Actively doing it together is the part that makes it exciting. I obviously do this in a coaching program. So in a coaching program and our sessions, one of the things we do every week is on a Tuesday, we do a format, and then everyone does it together and does it as they go and get feedback on it. And I used to not do it that way. I used to teach a format, and we used to do a lot of other stuff. And I used to talk a lot during those coaching sessions, and people would talk back about things. People talk less in those sessions, but they seem to really enjoy it more because they're actively learning and participating and getting that feedback loop as well. So they feel like they've actually achieved something in those sessions, as opposed to, I learned something, but now I've got to have time to apply it. So that's another way you could look at it, is from a coaching perspective. Also, when I'm doing strategies, I'll often go, here's some jobs you've got to do to apply. So it's kind of like applying the learning or applying the activity that person's doing and creating it from it. Another one that you can do is you might be able to do customization. So I literally saved myself from a purchase this morning. I am addicted to planners. I don't want to have judgment on this. I feel that planners are a beautiful, beautiful thing. And maybe one cannot have too many planners, except I am trying to stay focused about the planner situation. I do find maybe that having more than a couple of planners a year is getting a little bit out of hand. And I already have my marketing planner, which is not dated, which is different. And then I have like an annual planner that's got everything per month. And so I got given a planner and it's pretty good. And I was looking at this beautiful customized planner, which meant I could choose the color of the cover, and then I could choose the type of pages that were inside it. And that gave me a lot of excitement. And the only reason I didn't buy it is because I'm trying to not overconsume at the moment, because overconsumption is of the devil. But I did want to make sure that I was getting that customization thing. I like the process. I love the process of things like being able to choose and make something a little bit different. I love the idea of being able to feel like I can have some feedback into design. If people are asking, hey, which one of these do you like best? I saw a clothing designer the other day going, hey, I've got this fabric, I made it in this pattern. What do you think about it if I use this pattern? And actually feeling like you've got some sort of vested interest and actually being able to be involved in that design process makes you feel so invested with that brand. Need a marketing strategy, but you're tight on time and budget? In just 2 days, I can help you create a marketing strategy and an action plan that has everything mapped out for you for the following year in every area of the marketing. Plus, we'll have gone deep into who your target audience is, what your offer is, and all those other important things you need to know to get that marketing right. How are we going to do that? Well, you can come along and be part of the Map It Marketing Intensive. It's with a small group of like-minded business owners. We're running them across New Zealand in different areas, and I'd love you to be part of it. Plus, this is an approved program through the Regional Business Fund, so funding may be available to help you attend. Bonus, if you want to plan, if you want to have something that's highly practical, I'd love you to join me, Rachel Klaver, on the Map It Marketing Intensive. See you there. That whole customization stage is really awesome. And the last thing that might happen is that you can do it with content creation. So you can involve your audience in the process of developing something, getting advice. You can ask them for help and support, maybe pushing something out with their networks. You could ask them to vote on a particular plan. For example, if you're a fitness coach, you might decide to go, hey, we're thinking about making this a focus for fit workout plans, or this, which one of these do you think would be great? What's an exercise you would definitely love to see to have? What's an exercise you know is really good for you, but you don't like that you're going to have? And put that in and make them feel more invested in the program. And so have a think about these. Think about, can I increase customer engagement? Can I create some interactive experiences that help people contribute to my product or my service? Can I find ways for people to feel that they're getting a customized experience? Can I help them make a menu or pick and choose of what they're doing, whether it's like an actual physical product, or it could be a service where they're actually seeing a sense of customization of, hey, we're going to focus on this and not this. For example, when I'm doing one-on-one, I say, these are the things we're going to cover. But in our first session, we're going to work out how to customize that for your specific business. That makes them feel like they are more invested in it. And it is customized. It's not like I'm doing it as a snazzy little trick, but it does make people feel like they're not just following a cookie cutter program where we have to cover everything across the way, because that can feel very frustrating if you feel like 3 or 4 of those things you didn't need to cover, right? And it makes you feel special if someone is customizing something. And then, of course, the content creation. So how can you find ways to involve your audience in the process of what you're developing, of what you do, of asking for feedback, of getting ideas and generation, maybe getting inspiration from them? All of those things make people feel more invested. So let's have a little look and see if we can think about these in terms of different industries. The first one we might be able to do is you might be able to do a thing where in a service-based business, for example, with a photographer, you might decide that you could have your clients decide on some different shoot themes or different shoot locations, like get them to help crowdfund some great, cool locations that you may not have thought about before, particularly if you're in a different area. That's quite a good one. I see quite often photographers using the same studios as everybody else. And then the photos do start to look the same. Those are beautiful studios, but they start to look very similar, even if you're trying not to, because they've got similar props and all those sort of things. So actually getting your clients to find like great backdrops or great places that they might not know about, little secret little places, that can be a really cool way to use it as a service-based business. You might be a retail store and you might sell some DIY kits that help people do a few things or ideas, or even like maybe fabric swatcher little kits to kind of get ideas around what colors are, and finding ways to kind of incorporate different ideas in terms of what your homewares could be. You might even have stuff around custom decorations, like how to develop a few of those things, or have a custom decoration class in store, like a Christmas wreath one, if it was near Christmas, or an Easter egg basket or something like that. And then maybe perhaps you might do something, if you're a nonprofit, you could do something around getting donors to participate in designing campaign materials or creating slogans or posters, or for any of these, getting ideas and feedback around new branding and new logos and things like that. Now, be aware it's not a criteria that you choose what they choose, because just because someone on the internet says they like something doesn't mean it's okay for your ideal market. But it's great for engagement, and it helps people feel like they are connected to your brand and they're invested. I think that's why it's really important. So asking for feedback and content can be a great way to do this. So simple things that you can do, for example, is just to help people to choose from a few preset options so they can have ownership around it. So it might be choosing a particular story style that I might be teaching, for example, or you might have custom labels or different colors so people have a little bit of an option. So having options within SKUs of your retail and service base, it might be having 3 different types of services. You might have your ABC and giving them the option and helping. I more and more are allowing my clients to choose that for them. Like I lay it all out and I'll say, I feel like I know might fit you better, but what do you think you would like? And trusting their judgment on there. Sometimes we as salespeople can make mistakes around what someone needs most because we've developed a bias around that person. We may have decided that we've heard their turnover and it's small, so we're like, oh, better, they're going to go for the cheaper option. Or we might have decided that they're a bigger company and they need all the bells and whistles when actually they just need the smaller thing. And so getting people to actually actively choose from your offerings is a really good way to do that. And that's one of the reasons I really love having a check the fit, diagnose and prescribe meeting with people, so that I can listen to what they need and get a really clear idea of it, but also give them the opportunity to hear the options and find the one that sits best with them. It's easier to do that with a conversation often than just looking at a bunch of stuff on a website or on someone's social media. So those are really low budget, but really high impact ways that you can make the IKEA effect work well for your business. So I've got a little job for you. In these marketing psychology ones, you'll have a little job to do, and here's your one. It's a little practical activity. I want you to think about a product or a service that you offer and think, what's one little thing that I could do to see if I could get my customers to make it a little bit more their own? And then write it down and see if you could test it out. Give it a go. And it could be starting small, like writing a post and asking for advice, writing a post and asking for feedback. When you do this, make it an easy answer. So don't just say, what color should we do such and such? Give them options. When you go too broad, it makes people have to think too hard. The idea is not to offer them the world. The IKEA, if you think about the IKEA set, you have to follow a certain amount of instructions and follow them in order, and there's limits to your choices. And this is exactly the same. We keep the choices simple so that there's less brain activity and brain calories used to make the decision, and we create this amazing option for them to feel more involved. The IKEA effect is a really great reminder that people value what they help creates. Even a small contribution can make a really big difference to how your customers feel about your brand. Now, I talk a bit about the different psychologies in my group, the Content Master Web. I also talk about it in part of my 2 days intensive, which is the Map It Marketing Strategy Intensive, which you can do in person with me across New Zealand, or the Content Marketing Accelerator, which you can also do over a 2-day event. Both of those 2 things are funded through the Regional Business Partners Fund. So if you're interested in doing those things, I'd love to talk to you. And otherwise, guys, I love that I managed to get over my dog whining at the beginning of this podcast before I started doing it. And I managed to step in and do it. And I hope for you that this has been useful to understand how you can increase engagement and get that little bit of psychology going to help people really fall in love with your business. I'd love to know if you've ever tried this strategy before without even realizing it was called the IKEA effect. Or if you're going to try it, let me know what you did. I'd love to share your story, and if it's a goodie, we may even share it in a future episode, or I may share it in my socials. I would love to hear from you, and otherwise, I will talk to you soon, because we're back, baby, for 2025, coming in hot for the Confident Content Podcast with Rachel Klaver.